I hate YouTubers that ramble on, so let's jump right into it. In this video, I'm going to show you my 7 best tips to achieve a planche faster.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Number 1, use a mirror. Now, I'm currently in an Airbnb in Colorado right now, so I actually don't have one with me, ironically. But what I suggest using is whether it's a mirror, your phone, a tablet, a computer, doesn't matter. And the main reason why is you can watch yourself do the planche in real time. I feel like we've all been there when you first start getting into the planche, where you're like here and you're like, oh, I got it. And you're really doing like a half handstand, and then you watch the video back and you're like, yeah, that wasn't it at all. Recording yourself on camera is great, and I think it's useful to look back on, but the problem is there's a bit of a lag, I feel like, between recording, looking back on it, and trying to readjust. When I'm doing the planche in a mirror, let's say if I have a mirror right here, again, I can set up my phone. I don't even have to be recording. I just want to be able to see myself doing the movement. I can look and be like, oh wait, I need to have my arms more forward, or more back, or adjust my back, adjust my legs, whatever the case is. Being able to see yourself and especially adjust your body position in real time allows you to get that feel of what the planche should feel like when doing it, and this is one of the best ways to get your form perfect. Number 2, the forward lean. This is huge for both planche and planche push-ups. All these tips apply to both, and when it comes to, like, say, a tuck planche push-up, for example, a lot of people do this. They get here, they go to their tuck planche push-up, and they go here, and they go like this. So they're going up, but they're more than going back. The problem is, in order to do a full planche push-up or holding the full planche, your shoulders need to be over your wrists. So instead of being here, right, that's not going to work. I want to be here. I've even seen some people doing the planche on almost their first 4 fingers. So they're leaning so far forward, their pinky's almost off the ground. So a big pro tip is, actually, if you're working on planche push-ups, a tuck planche hold, whatever it is, pretend there's the invisible pane or a glass, doesn't matter, like basically something in front of you, and you want your shoulders to touch it. So instead of being here in the tuck planche, like hold for example, I'm going to be here, straight arms, and now I'm going forward. If, like, say, I'm working on the tuck planche push-up, as opposed to doing this, where I'm just going up and then kind of coming back, I'm going to go here. You notice my arms go more forward, forcing yourself to lean forward, and when you're doing any variation of the push-up, to push up and have your shoulders push forward as well is huge for getting the planche. Number 3, the toe scrape. This is honestly one of my favorite tips that I think is very useful, especially as you get to the more advanced versions of the planche. Now, for a lot of people, they're used to the fact of leaning forward, and if they're trying to go for the full planche, they're used to going here, and then what they do, they try to kick out. The problem is, typically, they kick up. Like, say you're trying to get to the full planche super quick, a lot of people do something like this. They go here, and they go, all right, I'm going to kick out like that. They keep doing that, and their goal is to eventually get to the full planche. One of the best ways to do this is to kind of tuck in your stomach, so to speak, right down here, almost by your pelvic region, and pretend like I want to take my toes and scrape them across the ground. What this does is, 1, it's going to make you go back, of course, which you need to do, but 2, it puts your hips and your body in the right position. So as opposed to doing this, right? No, I want to pretend scrape my toes. Now you can either slide them across the ground, I'm on carpet with socks right now, or you could do it just with your toes hovering right above the ground. So now it's going to look like this, because in the beginning like that, which is a lot better as an example. But now then, doing the toe scrape, going to go here, lean forward, scrape this way, and then go out, right? I'm not fully warmed up yet, but you get the idea. By having your toes scrape across the ground, it creates like that right position here in like your pelvic region and your stomach. So you start going for the planche, you get that lean, and you're scraping your toes. Number 4, using momentum. This is huge for the planche because, as you can imagine, you know, being able to hold a full planche takes a lot of work. And what's good about momentum is you can do a full planche for a half a second, a quarter of a second. And what that allows you to do is slowly work your way up to the different planche progressions. As a side note, I do want to say this too. I've seen some rumors saying, oh, you can't do an advanced tuck planche until you can hold a tuck planche for 30 seconds. I think once you can hold a position for 10 seconds, in good form, good position and everything, start working on the next one. So let's say you're just starting out and you're trying to do a tuck planche, and you're trying to go up here and you're like, ugh, and you fall like that. What I suggest doing is using momentum and rocking into it. So, of course, when it comes to the traditional planche hold, you want to be straight arms. You know, you can work your bent arm too if you want to work on planche push-ups. But let's say I'm doing straight arm tuck planche hold, I can just do this. Arms here, up, and down. And maybe do sets of that. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, like so, right? Then, at a certain point, I can make it longer. So I'm going to go 1, 2. And the idea is that you're going to use that momentum knowing you're going to come back down, but by doing so, you can make that hold position a bit longer. In the beginning, it might just be a quick 1/10 of a second, but then it's going to be a 1/3 of a second, a 1/2 a second, a full second, and you're going to work your way up. Number 5, only work the planche. This one's pretty straightforward. I have tried different combinations of doing, normal, let's say, calisthenics and parkour training, and then doing planche afterwards or whatever. I find that if you're trying to get a planche as fast as possible, you're really working at it a lot, work on the planche only. So what I typically suggest is, like, say, work on the planche for about anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how you're feeling and everything. Always take at least one rest day and go from there. So the best way to do it, in my opinion, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. During that workout, hit the planche hard, work it out for about an hour, and make sure you give your body a full rest day. This is huge. The planche is very intensive on your body, not just in terms of the normal muscles, as we think of them in terms of biceps, shoulders, etc., but there's a lot of like microfibers to oversimplify that a lot. There's all like microfibers and everything that need to be built in order to hold your body up, because as you can imagine, being in the full planche position, holding your body up and everything, it's very, very intensive on your body. And if you're going to work on the planche, you really want to get it, only work on the planche. If let's say you want to do other stuff around that, let's say like running, cycling, any other physical activity, I suggest prioritizing the planche. So let's say on Monday, for example, you do an hour of planche work, then you go for a 1/2 an hour run. Something like that where your body's really primed and ready for the planche, and anything else besides that is secondary. Number 6, asymptotes. Now, in case you don't remember what an asymptote is, an asymptote almost approaches another line that's somewhat parallel to it, but never fully touches it. Remember in school when you're like, when am I ever going to use this math stuff in real life? It's for planche training. What I'm talking about is this. If, let's say, I'm doing a bodyweight workout, whether it's something, like, say, with push-ups, just to make it simple, I will usually train till failure. I will do it over and over again until I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can do another push-up, and I'm just like this, trying to push myself up, and I just hit the ground. That would be the way I'll train most of my workouts. However, when it comes to the planche specifically, I will get to maybe a 9 out of 10, maybe a 9.5 out of 10, but never a full 10 out of 10. I'll approach till failure, but I won't completely reach failure, if that makes sense. The reason why I say that is, this is true for a lot of other workouts, but especially the planche. It's very easy to be injured doing planche training, as you can imagine, because of how intensive it is on your body. And I find that, let's say if I'm working on, and again, just making this up, like straddle planche holds or whatever, or straddle planche push-ups, I will do them to the point where I'm exhausted, and I'm like, oh, I can only do 3 more. And next I can only do 3 more straddle planche push-ups. I will do 2, and let my body have that rest, like I said, at least a day rest. So my workouts are at least 48 hours spaced out. This is huge because I have tried training planche till failure to the point where I held it till I just smacked it to the ground. And I found I was more likely to get injured, to hurt myself. I found that I was more sore and not in a good way the next day. I think when it comes to training the planche, go all the way up to that point, like I said, very asymptotic style workout, where I'm going all the way up to the point where I can almost fail, but I'm not training completely to failure. Number 7, ankle weights. Ironically, I don't have some with me right now, but when it comes to having weighted objects in terms of bodyweight workouts, I do have a weighted vest. You may notice this actually in the back. But what's interesting about the planche, because of the physics behind it, if let's say I'm wearing a weighted vest, might as well throw this on, right? Why not? So if let's say I'm wearing this, and let's say I'm doing a tuck planche hold, for example, this is going to be harder with the weighted vest, right? Because it's kind of pushing down on the top of my body and everything. However, once you start kind of going out using that toe scrape technique, going from, let's say, tuck planche, advanced tuck planche, straddle planche, full planche, etc., my legs are going to be all the way out here, of course, right? All the way out here. So by having ankle weights on, I promise you, the further away your legs get, even just a little bit, is going to be significantly harder. I have tried using a weighted vest in my training and ankle weights in my training, and without question, ankle weights were way more effective to speed up my planche progression. One huge thing I want to say though, start off small. Start off with, I'm not exaggerating, 1 pound on one ankle, 1 pound on another. So you're doing 2 pounds total. I promise you, even though it's only 2 pounds extra, 1 pound on each leg, when it comes to the planche, the straddle planche, the advanced tuck planche, once your ankles start getting further and further away from the center of your body, it's going to become significantly harder than you think. And while yes, I think a weighted vest is an amazing thing to have. I mean, hey, I'm traveling right now. I use this all the time. And it is good for a lot of exercises. I find when it comes to the planche, a weighted vest is good in the beginning for, let's say, a tuck planche and tuck planche push-ups. But once you start spreading more out, ankle weights all the way. And now, a bonus tip, and that is quality over quantity. I know this is the biggest buzzword in every profession. You know, I'm also a musician, in case you didn't know. Everybody talks about this in music or pretty much any field, period. Quality over quantity. And while this is true for any field, like I said, I think for the planche it's even more important because, as you can imagine, the planche is one of those movements that not only is it very difficult to do, of course, as we all know, but it also has this very strong aesthetic appeal, if that makes sense. The visualness of the planche is huge, right? And as you can imagine, the better your planche looks, the harder it is to achieve. The more flat you are, you know, like I've mentioned before, being fully straight-armed here and flat, and you're exactly like this, and you're fully hovering and everything, that takes a lot of work. And as you're building the muscle memory when doing the planche, you want to make sure you're building the right muscle memory. This is why I suggested in the beginning of this video to have like a mirror, use your phone, tablet, computer, basically anything, like I said, where you can see yourself in real time, and you can do those minor adjustments by looking at yourself as you're doing the planche and adjust accordingly. As cliche as it is to say quality over quantity, I promise you this is huge, as if you only train high quality planche form, you're going to be way better off in the long run.